Hello, we're a day early. We are a day early. The reason we're a day early is that tomorrow I'm actually monkeying around in trees, so I can't be here. We're doing it today. Everything's all fun and games. I watched Andor. There was a load of Silent Hill stuff on a Saturday. My mind's blank. What are you doing hanging around?
So Biffa's mind is blown for the podcast people because we're actually recording this for podcast people on a Saturday, not a Sunday. Just confuse the hell out of you. So
yes.
we's back, but we's here. See, Biffa, you only have to wait 6 days for the best podcast on the planet. See, gifts come early.
Yeah. So one of the things is, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I am going to watch The Witch Burn tomorrow. I've decided.
I'm going to watch it because I want to see, one, who the other bloody doctor is. 2, is this how they're bringing David Tennant in? Are we going to get a David Tennant cameo tomorrow, or are we going to get what's his face from Sex Education as the doctor, who I'd quite like to see. I'm intrigued to see what he will look like and what he's going to look good in her costume. He'll look better in her costume than she did.
That's sadly true.
You know it. I'm going to watch it because ding dong, the bitch is gone. I mean, the witch is dead.
Well, more importantly, Chris Chibnall's gone, which I think is the bigger problem. Just need the BBC to get. Oh, the BBC will be gone too. This is going to be hopefully, maybe a return to form. I'm not holding up much hope, I'll be honest with you. But it's one of those things.
Yes, but I will watch it. I will watch it on Monday because it'll be too late to air here, and I have to get up and do work, which sucks.
Well, I'll watch it for you. I might pop on my own and just go. I think it's going to be a hodgepodge mess like the Flux. I've got money on it. It's just I think it's going to look like a trailer and have the continuity of a trailer rather than a coherent story.
We'll have a Doctor and Yaz kiss because we have to. Then we'll have probably a threesome with John Bishop. No, I mean that would just be going too far. But,
if it was John Barrowman, I would say yes.
Yeah, that could be true. But then you wouldn't mind. Yeah, but John Barrowman's brief return was unfortunately then cancelled because a gay man was whipping his cock out, and people got upset by that.
Who would have thought that behind the scenes John Barrowman would be doing iffy stuff
because he was somehow a threat to you, John Barrowman. Anyway,
I don't think if I remember correctly about that, no one actually complained.
I believe that somebody did, but it's a bit.
But no one that you'd expect to complain.
No.
Yeah, it was more a case of him being really unprofessional than sexual harassment, if that makes any sense. Because that was unprofessional, right?
Harassment panda. Sorry.
But anyway, I watched Andor.
Congratulations, well done. Have you watched the last episode? Because I
haven't watched the last episode. I kind of
damn good.
The reason I haven't watched the last episode is because it kind of it happens in story blocks. Yeah.
You're right.
It doesn't work weekly. If this stuff was dropped in those story blocks, it would work. Or if it was dropped in on all at once, it would work. And I can understand because people would dip out. And if I watched the first 2 weeks, or the 4th and the 5th one, I probably would have dropped out.
This is definitely one of those series that is created for streaming, but it's been written in the fact that you would binge it. And it's a shame because no one's watching it. And this is by far the most competent written series from Disney that there is. It is genuinely, I enjoy. The last episode was genuinely very good. We got some surprise cameos that were good. I like this series. I like its tone. I like that it's grown up. I like it's sensible. I like it doesn't have any of this wishy-washy fucking.
It doesn't feel like Star Wars though.
Bullshit. That is kind of half the point. it does in places, but I kind of like that. I was always interested in seeing that game that they cancelled, that was set in the underground of Coruscant. And the trailer to that game did not feel like Star Wars, but it felt interesting. And this kind of feels like that trailer to the game. And there are moments when it feels like Star Wars. I mean, Andor ends up on the Star Wars equivalent of Riser. At the end of this
God, no. We need to talk about the ones I have seen, not the one that I haven't seen.
I'm not spoiling it for you, but that moment, there is a Star Warsy moment. And I'm waiting for what's his face's K2S droid to turn up, because I think that's about to happen.
Alan Tudyk, I think.
And Alan Tudyk's voice. I'm there for it. I love that man.
Yes, he was great in Firefly. What was it? It was right. So the first story is literally Andor's call to adventure. That's the first story.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to point something out from when you and Keith you and Nigel were discussing this, yeah? Because Nigel had total fucking umbrage with one part of it, which he really didn't like. And I watched it, and I couldn't find it. So I had to go back to the podcast, listen to what he said, and then rewind, find it in the scene and watch it again. So Nigel was like, kind of, oh, the guards just picked her out. It goes, it didn't seem right. I'm like, okay, how? What she did is, this is what happened. Imagine this, yeah? All chaos is breaking loose, yeah? Everyone is running in every direction, okay? They're all running in every direction. But this woman chooses to run up to the security people, go, oh, shit, turn around and run back the other way. Looks really fucking suspicious. And the director was smart enough to put a black guy in an orange coat behind them who ran towards the security people and past them. So you knew. It was a good bit of directing. Someone thinking with their nous. I like that. Yeah, this is Keith. We'll give Keith a moment. Yes, insert smug face. So I don't know why. I don't know where Nigel got that from. I really don't know where Nigel got that from.
I generally like that moment, because it showed again that this has been written by somebody who doesn't just write girl bosses. I quite liked her character. She turns up again. I hope we haven't seen the last of her after this episode, because I think there's something interesting there. But she got her ass kicked. She didn't just like beat the shit out of three stormtroopers, which, had this been Boba Fett or any of the other ones,
security.
She would have.
They were corporate security. They're corpos.
Yeah. But I like that moment. I thought that was a key moment, and I thought that was right. They are sending a message here. Is it written? Is it a single episode drop? No. I understand why people felt that those first few episodes were boring, but it just felt refreshing.
Right.
It felt refreshing.
So my issue was those first 3 episodes should have been they did come out as a whole. I didn't see it come out as a whole. Those first 3 episodes should have come out as a whole. The next 3 episodes should have come out as a whole. This is why I don't think it works for the weekly bits, because when you see it all together, you establish where you are, you establish the problem, and then you fix the problem, and that's literally what they do. Yeah, and that whole first thing, nothing felt. I didn't feel cheated for anything. No one felt overpowered or anything. You had the cute little robot, and you had the flashback, so you got to see a parallel to a previous point in Andor's life where he was stranded. It looks like he was stranded on a planet where all the parents had been killed off, and the kids had gone feral. Yeah, and then these scavengers with Mrs. Dursley. I can't remember the actress's name, but she plays Mrs. Dursley in Harry Potter. She picked him up and took him away, and then and at the end of that 3rd episode, when Stellan Skarsgård is picking up and taking him away, you get the same kind of feeling off the back of that, which is a good thing. So that kind of made sense. Then you had the overly ambitious, incompetent corpo second lieutenant in charge of security, and they did something really clever with him. Yeah, they put someone really competent next to him, which is the Scottish guy, right? Really competent, really encouraging, next to him, to show him how show how his insecurities is fucking things up. Yeah, you've got one guy next to him, really knows what he's doing. He agrees with everything. He goes, we protect our own, blah, 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 saying all the right things. Yeah, he will do anything that guy will ask him. Yeah, very sensible. That's the kind of person you want to work with. Yeah, but matey is too insecure and it lacks the experience in order to overcome that. And it did feel a bit like, do you remember that Ronnie Corbett series? I think it was Sorry, where he lived with his mother and he was like 40.
Yes.
When he went back to his mum, it felt like that, because there's
another
a bit.
Harry. She's another Harry Potter alumnum as well. She
was the Snake lady, wasn't she? She was the one who pretended to be Nagini.
No,
in the thingy.
The mother is the next door neighbor.
Oh, the squib next door.
Yeah.
Okay. But she did that, and she looks like it looks like that character is either going to, I think he's going to join the Empire. I don't know. Right? I've only watched the first 6 episodes. If I pulled, it's going to join the Empire, and I think
I think he's actually going to end up in the Rebel Alliance
after joining the Empire.
I get the distinct impression that he's going to go after Andor. I'm not spoiling anything here. I think he's going to go after Andor. He's going to catch up to Andor, and he's going to do the right thing. I get the distinct feeling that he's going to end up being a rebel rather than full on.
But he needs to see how the Empire operate before that happens, so he can have his proper turn.
But that's what we're seeing in this, though, aren't we? We are seeing how the Empire operates.
Yeah. So just sticking in these first 3 episodes, you had the cute little robot, and actually that cute little robot worked. It kind of reminded me of one of the guys from, was it Black Hole? Hit the floating droids.
Yes.
Kind of reminded me of one of the things, because you got the stammer, like the damaged one in Black Hole. That was quite cute. The fact that when they had their gunfight, they're in a room with lots of dangling machinery above their heads, and you're like, it's a good place, if you got trapped, because you could fight your way out of here and cause, some serious, damage and that. Disagreed with the car they used as a bomb. I know why they used it as a bomb, but I would have had that one as the escape vehicle, because you've got some protection for your face and bits rather than the speeder bikes. But yeah, it worked well. I thought that first one, it was the call to, as I said, it was the call to adventure. You got to see what Andor's life was like. You understood that he wasn't born on the planet that he was. He was spirited away by Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon. Spirited away by thingy. Nothing felt forced. You can understand why the scorned lover of, I can't remember her character's name, pretty lady. She was in the Terry Pratchett / Neil Gaiman Angels and Demons thing. Yeah. I can understand why he would felt like spurned by her, and why he would then kind of want to try and keep her for himself, sort of thing, because he sees that Andor as a threat to their relationship. Even though she clearly cares more for him than she does for Andor, she's looking at Andor as a means to an end rather than anything else. But because she's a spy, you don't know if those feelings that he's experiencing for her are true. But he's dead now, so we'll never know. But they managed to portray that quite quickly and quite well in a short space. The thing where I think Nigel was talking about, the thing where they were banging, which was like intimidation. Yeah. And she and Aunt Petunia, I'm going to call her Aunt Petunia, didn't have any way of fighting those corpo guards that were in her house. Yeah. And the only thing she could do is play mind games with them. And it's like, kind of, that's when it stops. That's when you're in trouble, because you don't know if that's to cover up the marching of feet, to cover up the people sneaking around the house, to cover up someone planting a bomb, or just before an explosion happens, something or other. It's entirely it's a head fuck. It's designed to do that. Regardless, it made sense. It made perfect sense. She didn't have anything. She had no weapons whatsoever. The only thing she could do was play mind games with them, and she did it as best as she could. I like that. I think Nigel felt that was stupid. That was more one of Nigel's more reasonable criticisms. I have to, because the woman one was, I didn't see it. I had to go back and rewatch and find the damn thing. So yeah, that whole thing with corporate security, I liked the fact that the guy in charge would just fucking leave it. They weren't supposed to be there. We know there's a brothel there. They were in the brothel. They're not supposed to be in there. They couldn't afford to be in the brothel. Something was up. They did something wrong. That's what got them killed. We leave it at that. But the other guy's like, no, we must follow this through. And it's like, yeah, you can do it, but it's not the right thing. Then you've got it's weird because you get to see the Emperor's bureaucracy, which is so strange. Of all the things to focus on the Star Wars world, it's like kind of here are the civil servants.
And it feels like that, but I am finding that interesting.
Yeah, you've got the guy who plays like the head civil servant feels like a British civil servant.
Yes.
If I was doing a thing in the British bureaucracy, that's who I'd pick. I can't remember his name. He was in Game of Thrones.
Yes, I know. But there's a really good scene with him and the woman, the woman sort of one of the women heads of certain sector. There's a really good scene between the two of them in episode 7. I really like that scene because she kind of wins, but she is going to get a fucking knife in her back if he's not careful. And,
yeah, I that's further on down the line. That's like the second story. Still sticking with the first story, and yeah, it was interesting because you got to see what was going on before the Emperor introduced Death Star and all that sort of bits, and it's how planets and stuff were being run. Nice, great foundation. This would have been a great opener for Disney Star Wars, more than Boba Fett. Not Boba Fett, The Mandalorian.
I've seen people sort of comparing, saying that, and Boba Fett was better than Andor, and I was just like, what fucking series did you watch? This is competently written. This has a story. Characters do what characters are meant to do. It actually fucking focuses on Andor. Okay, it's focusing on other characters, but the namesake of the bloody series, at least he focuses mainly in the series. And I don't know. Those first 3 episodes, I understand why people think the first 2 of those were boring, but it was building to something. And then
it went, and more importantly, it went somewhere. It built it up and then released it. That's the bit I appreciate because I can see where all this stuff was going, and then when it got to the end, it happened, and I'm like, good. That's how you tell a story. Now, sometimes it can be a bit predictable. Nothing wrong with a bit of predictability because sometimes that's comforting. Yeah, but I know. Yeah,
I know that some people feel like, okay, it's kind of sort of making you a bit sort of like it's not shining a light on Star Wars. It's somehow making Star Wars more realistic, which you shouldn't do because Star Wars is all about Jedi Knights and stuff. No, as an adult who has grown up with Star Wars, this feels like adult Star Wars, and this is like an adult look at the world that this was created in, and I knew I was going to like this. I knew I was going to like this, and it hasn't disappointed me. The second story, again, it builds, it goes somewhere, and it has quite a good conclusion.
Let's go into the second story because I do like the fact that there's a nice clear demarcation where Matey's now recruited him. He wasn't interested in the part, but the part may be the bit that might be Andor's undoing, and he says to him, he goes, look, well, I want you to go and help these people. I reckon you can help. Yeah, you can go and help these people. Here's like a kyber crystal. Is he even a kyber crystal?
He gave him a blue ice, or what did he call it?
I'm sure it's some kind of
ice
kyber
or something like that. Yeah, it was called something like that.
Anyway, it's about 30 grand. Yeah, he gets sent down. The woman meets him, and she's like, "What the fuck? I'm doing this with no money, and you're giving us a mercenary." And she's pissed because she's running the thing, and it feels believable. And the one thing they did in this episode, and they did in the second episode, and then it paid off in the third episode, is they made TIE fighters seem dangerous.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That was really good. They were shit, cool. There's a TIE fighter, hide. That was I appreciate that.
That scene of them flying through the fucking Scottish Highlands. I mean, that was genuinely quite awesome.
Do you know what's ironic? It's that Tornado pilots and Jaguar pilots and the RAF fly through them.
I know. That's what's made it so cool. And I've got footage of it, but that TIE fighter, and you get that throughout all three of those episodes. But oh god, those TIE fighters, oh yeah, they made them dangerous again. They made them fucking dangerous.
I like that. And then I really wanted the fucking the base commander who'd been dropped down a rank, who had betrayed them, to get away. That was one goal of the episode. Everyone else could die with the exception of him, and they fucking killed him off in the last part of the story.
And Neil, poor old Neil.
Oh, what, mate? He gets crushed. I saw that. I winced.
I'm calling him Neil. No, Neil, not the guy that got to the guy that looks like fucking Neil. Our mate Neil.
Oh, the American.
Yeah, the American guy.
Okay, yes, the American does look like
American Neil.
So we'll have to keep him in mind. I always play this wonderful game where it's like if I was doing a Hollywood casting of what do you call it? Hollywood casting of like a TV show or a movie. Who would I cast to play the people I know? And he'd play Neil. Yes. So going back to it, so you had them. They all going through that. You could see that they're training. It didn't come from nowhere. They had a plan. They had a guy in the background. He had a reason to betray them. You felt like you were on the right side because the Empire were going to screw them over and everything. So you felt completely justified by it. And it was a heist and a robbery. And I love watching heists and robbery things. It's always that way. It's always make the plan, execute the plan, watch the plan fail, throw the plan away, start again. Yeah, sort of thing. And you're going through there, and you're seeing all the kind of characters and bits, and you got the guy at the top of the dam. They filmed that's the place where they filmed Doctor Who, the one in the water, wasn't it? With the big kind of dam there, and you got to what do you call it? You got to see the guy at the top of the dam, the troopers by the dam, the guys running it, and think you got a feel for what was going on there, yeah. And then you got to see the commander, the black guy walking around. Everyone respects him. He knows what he's doing. He seems on the up and up to them, but we know he's not. He's on our side, which is great. Then you've kind of got to hear the stories about how the locals used to go to this bit to watch the planet go through this field of micrometeorites that explode in the atmosphere, which will allow them to escape. Yeah, because it's like, oh, the TIE fighters won't see us, and they'll probably wait because they haven't got shields. Yeah. We can get this, we can do this, we just get this ship out here through. As long as we can get all that done, everything will be fine. All made sense. Nothing felt fucking out of place. You had the two women that was actually the one thing, they made them lesbians. Like, you didn't need to do that. You could have just had it.
Initially I saw that, but I think in the context of this story, that's going to come back into play, and I actually think it's going to have a payoff that makes narrative sense. At first, I did my usual, I've gone like that. Then I went, hang on. She made a comment that she's with someone else. There is, if you go back, there is a comment that Andor kind of fancies her. And it's like, be careful, she's with someone, and it's insinuated it's a man, right? But then it turns out to be the commander. But I think that's going to come back because there was a scene in the trailer where she's still on the planet and that great big fucking battle cruiser comes over. Fucking awesome scene, by the way. And you're like, okay, she's still on the planet, right? So I think I'm going to reserve judgment on that until the end of this season, because I think that narratively that's going to have a payoff. That it isn't there for wokeness, that it's there for a reason.
Okay. It's all right. We'll go with that. I did like the fact that where she was a commander, she was hesitant in places, and her girlfriend wasn't. And she was like, kind of, and it was good because she'd actually done her job right by putting someone with herself who would make sure that she gets the job done. It's
not just me, right? These characters feel like characters. They feel like they have motivations. They are not fucking perfect. They fuck up, but there is a. It's just competently written. Now, okay, it could be that we look back at this in a time and say this is spectacularly average, but compared to what we have fucking had, this thing feels.
This is above average. It's not.
All right.
It's good. It's not great. It will be judged on its landing. If it ends the series well, and doesn't do a shitty job, then it will be. It's like going back. You had the guy who looks like our friend Neil, the American, and it's funny because he's really suspicious of Andor, and then when Andor's revealed to be a mercenary, all of a sudden he's like, aha, and then you can see that at that point he goes, there's an opportunity because I'm planning on fucking them over. If I've got a mercenary on my side, my chances increase vastly. The thing is, it's funny because Andor isn't a mercenary; he's a spy pretending to be a mercenary. Yeah, he's been offered money, but he's not supposed to do that. He's been asked to put a stick in the eye of the Empire. Yeah, he's supposed to be part of the rebellion, sort of thing. Yeah, and that I thought was good. That was good. It's just written. That's the thing with this. Yeah, unlike all the other stuff, this thing is written.
It's written by somebody who can actually write.
Yes.
And funny enough, they don't live in Hollywood.
Tony Gilroy, is it? Tony Gilroy? Yeah, because he's got his two brothers helping him out on it. I've noticed. One's like looks like a trainee producer.
It's incredible. I think it's well written. I think the next 3 are going to be where we see Andor actually buy into the cause. No spoilers for you. Genuinely, I really enjoyed episode 7. I like what's going on with Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma's mate turns up who happens to be Copper from Sherlock, played by Copper from Sherlock. What's his face?
He plays
Lestrade.
Greg Lestrade.
So the guy that plays him turns up, and there's this brilliant sort of scene between her and him, where he's basically saying, "Look, my politics are not, you don't want to know. You're here." He thinks she's just some kind of toff living in Coruscant, and then she sort of like drops it on him that I'm not what I seem, and that's quite a good scene. Again, it could have been a girl boss scene, but it wasn't. It was well done.
It's weird. The actress has said some bullshit about her character, which I don't appreciate. But her character seems to come somewhere between Lady Diana and Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, but she's been around. I mean, she was cast in episode 3, and I think most of it was cut. But she was cast by Lucas. She is a Lucas casting. She was obviously in Rogue One, and now she's back in this. We were worried that this was going to focus on Mon Mothma, and it's not. It's building to something, because again, in episode 7, without going into spoilers, it begins to dawn on her, this is a rebellion. This is serious shit. And it's not being all kiddie about it. People will die, people get killed, people will suffer, but in the long run, this is what you have to do. Obviously the Empire is going to crack down right after that. That's not a spoiler. And she's like, "Oh, I don't want the fucking Empire cracking down." But it's like, that's what we want to happen. We want people to suffer, because out of that comes rebellion.
So just another thing, you got the Stellan Skarsgård character. He was sitting on that bus, with that gentleman, the old English fella. Yeah, he was in Doctor Who, the one with the TV episode, The Wire, I think they called it.
Yes.
And he's sitting on the thingy. How much money do you want to bet that at the end of the season he's going to turn up to his shop?
You could be right.
And how much you want to bet that he's working with the Empire for some reason?
Again, you could be right.
I think
at some point we're going to get Palpatine. We are going to get Palpatine. But,
Ian McDermott's going to turn up, even if it's just like a video.
And actually, I think again, it's going to be very organic in the way that Palpatine does turn up. We've had what's his face from Clone Wars in episode 7. You might, because you don't you've never really seen Clone Wars, although you'll probably remember him from Rebels, because he was in Rebels. But in basically, every time Anakin went off in the Clone Wars, there was an admiral that was kind of with him, right? And that admiral dude was played by a very, hello, I'm English guy, and he always seemed quite nice. By the time he's in Rebels, he's a bit of a dick, right? And he's seen as a background character in New Hope on the Death Star. He's the old dude wearing the white costume. By the way, people who said, "Oh, what Disney bought the white costume," then nope. Go and watch fucking for New Hope in the bloody Death Star scene with Vader doing the old fucking training. Old dude sitting in a white uniform at the back. That's the old dude. He turns up in episode 7, and again, organic. It's really well done. But like in that shop, right? There's so many fucking Easter eggs instead of Skarsgård's thing. You've got a fucking holocron. You've got the Jedi fucking Sith version, right? In there. You've got a Gungan fucking shield in there, which was kind of cool. Right? There's all these things in the back. Like, hang on, these are all like fucking artifacts. So the holocron was cool.
Yeah. This is a good TV series. I'm waiting to see if it builds, because if it builds and delivers at the end, then I'll call it great. This is the best bit of Star Wars out of Disney.
Yes.
Better than Mandalorian by far.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Mandalorian's a cheese sandwich without any butter in it.
This has been genuinely good. I like the look of Coruscant. I'm enjoying it. Right. I want to see a bit more in the sort of in the Congress place, and I want to see a bit more sort of what there. But again, episode 7 is building, and where episode 7 finished, it really left me going, I fucking need to watch episode 8 to see what happens here.
The other thing too is I got a feeling her husband's going to die, but he's going to die.
Dick.
I know, but he's going to die and do something heroic, because he probably thinks that she's not doing anything heroic, and when he finds out that she's doing something heroic, he'll want to do something heroic.
You
Does that
think
make sense?
He actually has a disdain for the Empire, and he's going to turn out to be some kind of, he's not
a rebel. He's just like a hippie. You know how hippies don't like authority? He's that kind of guy.
You could be right.
I think because it feels like it is building towards it, because he is Dick, but he's like kind of he's all airy fairy kind of. He's a hippie Dick. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Again, episode 7, I think, is the best episode so far in terms of intrigue and building. There's some nice little payoffs in episode 7. And I can't wait for episode 8. Genuinely, yeah. I'm glad that you're with me on this in many ways.
Yeah. I watched it. The missus was watching it kind of partially, and she said this is a good TV series. This isn't like the other shit you watched. And what like even The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, she was like, that stuff was didn't make any fucking sense to me, and I can follow this. I'm like, oh, good. So
yeah, I agree with it. That's a good writing. I unfortunately, after my waxing lyrical about House of Dragon, episode 9 was shit.
They can have a shit episode, Keith. They're allowed one.
Kind of, although the ending was kind of good, but annoying at the same time. Let's see how episode 10 goes. I think it's going to have. There was no Matt Smith in it. That's partly probably why it was shit. It was entirely focused on the Bellend character, as I call her. It was entirely focused on them. There was none of the Matt Smith side, so it was all focused on what's called the Greens, and I think that's partly why I didn't enjoy it that much. And there's some really horrific scenes that I found quite acutely uncomfortable, where instead of cocks fighting, they've got kids fighting, and they're betting on kids tearing each other to pieces, and I found that quite
disturbing.
Yes. There is a bit at the end with the dragon, but it's like, why didn't you burn them, you stupid cow? Anyway, so but I think next week's episode is going to be better. Yeah. So go on.
Right, so I want to point something out, because I watched Konami, right, decided that they were going to release a load of Silent Hill stuff. So instead of saying, hey, you know what, we're remaking Silent Hill 2 and we're going to make a new game. And you're like, oh, awesome. Yeah. Sorry, I just need to confirm it because I need to log into the bloody thing. And then instead of doing that, they showed off like tons of stuff. And I was quite happy up until a point. And I'm going to show you the bit where I was like, I was not happy because it was it was really good. I need to find the actual stream. Where's the live stream? There it is. It was on because they literally just came out of the blue with like everything. They literally went, you want Silent Hill? Got fucking Silent Hill up the wazoo, and they did, which was great. Let me just share my screen. I'm sorry for the listeners. Yes, I understand. Cool, I always understand. Bump, bump. So,
but do you understand?
I do understand. So let me put this on big screen for people to see. Let's change it so it's a bit more focused on us too. Anyway, they had their stream. I'm just trying to get through this stream. Where is it? There you go. This is the title card. It's like 23 minutes. There you go. So they did the countdown, and then I need to make sure I've got no sound on that. Play right. So they showed off. They've got a Polish developer did a game called I can't remember, Inside or something. And they've redone it, and it looks fantastic. Yeah, they've got it. This is mapped to an actor. It's mapped to an actor. I think I'll just show you. They literally showed all the stuff off, and they got back the guys. They got the guy who did the music. They got the guy who did the design for the creature effects. Got all of these things, yeah. And it's like we're respecting the source material. Music to my ear. Everyone who showed off their Silent Hill project on this stream said the following: respecting the source material. Yeah. So I'm watching this, and it's ticking lots of boxes. It's like this guy here's the guy who's the one of the original people who worked on it, and I think this guy's another original, and this one here is a horror streamer in Japan. So naturally, they just wanted to face that. Look, they got the guy here who did the music. So they're talking about how he goes, it's like 20 years ago I did the soundtrack and that to it, and it's all good, right? And then they show off a game done by a British and Californian developer who made a game called Observer, and then they start showing some other bits off, and then so they got a movie. So the guy's done the movie, and he's saying about respecting the source material. He's going to do Silent Hill 2, the film. Silent Hill 2 makes more sense to be made as a film than 1 and 3 because they're connected. So you go through this here, and it's like they're all saying all the right things, and they've even got like kind of the statues and stuff. Then I saw this.
Sorry. Okay, people.
For the podcast listeners.
For the podcast listeners, we have 4 logos. We have a Genvid logo, and I'm not going to, we have a BE Haver logo, a GG2 Entertainment logo, and a Bad Robot Games. Now, I wonder which one upset Gareth. This is DJ2 Entertainment by any chance?
So this is the thing where you had this Polish developer saying Silent Hill was the reason that we've been making horror games, and we're making the horror game because we love Silent Hill so much. It's being made on the Unreal 4 engine. Looks fantastic. We've done all our work. We've got capture. We're really throwing ourselves into this one. Yeah, we've even asked the original people to come back who did some of the creation, and I asked them if they can to make sure that what we do is right. Yeah. Then you've got the guys who are doing it, the guys from Scotland and California, which are odd mix. Yeah. And they're saying the same things too. Then you've got the French director talking about his film because Sony are putting money into making this film. He says the same thing too. You get to Bad Robot, they talk about the decisions that you'll make will become canon. So they're trying to rechange the fucking story already.
The only thing that'll make it worse is if it's written by JD Payne and Patrick.
No, but these are disciples of JJ, which means it will be shit. It might. Hopefully, I'm hoping Sony will look at it and go cancel. That's what I'm hoping they'll do. But I watched the stream and I was so impressed. And we talk about it in everything where you get Star Wars and all these things, and it's like respect the source material. And everyone throughout the stream was going, we're respecting the source material until you get to these monkeys who said that we're going to change the canon. One of these 5 projects, because there are 5 of them, is going to get cancelled. They're doing a Silent Hill in Japan, which it looks fantastic towards the end.
I wonder which. I think Bad Robot is getting more and more caned, and I think people are beginning to, you look at what's happened in Warner Brothers this week. You look at what's going on behind the lines in Amazon attacking the fans left, right, and center, which means that the series is doing really badly. Lord of the Rings, Bad Robot's on a downward trend. I mean, have you seen the news this week from Warner Brothers? Have you heard the news?
What's the news?
What the Henry Cavill news?
Oh, they brought Henry Cavill back for Black Adam.
No, not only have they brought him back, they are actively working on a Man of Steel 2. Now, you see, I will say that. Well, I know you're not a Superman fan, and Man of Steel 1 wasn't particularly good, but there were good elements. The problem was I never liked Zack Snyder's writing, but I liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I liked Batfleck. I liked him as Batman. I didn't like the films he was in, but I liked him as Batman. I liked the casting. It was the writing that was bad. Zack Snyder's not back for Man of Steel 2, so it could be a good movie. It could be an interesting movie. And Henry Cavill was a good Superman. British man, America, your greatest superheroes.
Your superheroes says that to be British. Sorry, it says a lot about you secretly about your country.
Spider-Man, Batman,
British.
No, not Batman.
Twice,
but Superman.
Maybe Batman. Well, maybe we'll get Batman. No,
Batman's
hang on a second. Current Batman.
Batman's been English. Yep.
The
Batman's been English twice.
Even though that's the worst Batman film out of all of them. You've got like retarded Batman.
Yeah.
He is retarded Batman. If he didn't do anything, nothing would have happened. Everything would have been fine. That's how bad a Batman he is. His actions caused it. He's such a fucking idiot.
It was kind of a shame. So yeah. But I don't know. I get the distinct impression that the Bad Robot's stock is going down in value. There is no way Amazon is going to recover from Lord of the Rings. It's going to be off air for 2 or 3 years. You think that people are going to forget this in 2 or 3 years and tune in to watch it. They're not. They're Tolkien fans, guys. Tolkien wrote these fucking books 70 odd years ago. For fuck's sake. People have been reading these books for a long time. They're not going to forget how bad this series was. Right?
No, they'll forget. They'll just forget. It'll be a thing that happened and that was it.
There will be a season 2 because they're committed to like 4 or 5 seasons, apparently. Although I suspect that all the actors by the end of season 2 are going to be bought out of their contracts, and Amazon are going to have to write off the best part of £2 billion probably on a massive failure, which it will be. Warner Brothers have already done it.
Amazon, for the princely sum of £100,000 a year, I will make it work.
Although, right, I told you I cancelled my Prime thing, and this is absolutely true. Amazon did release something new yesterday, and I've watched the first episode and a half. And I gotta admit, this is kind of interesting.
It's not the Devil's Hour, is it?
No, it's called the Peripheral. This is kind of interesting, right? You start off thinking it's kind of like the metaverse video game, but then you slowly but surely realize it's not, and you're like, okay. I mean, it's definitely, you can see all the influences of Westworld throughout it, right? But Westworld season 1, Westworld season 4 were quite good, although they screwed the fucking landing of season 4. But this is from a book, so it's not like these guys are writing it; they're just adapting it. And it's got what's her face that played Hit Girl, who Chloe Morton is, or whatever her name is. It almost feels like she's living in an alternative reality. The future is a different reality again. And the sim is not a sim, it's the future somehow. And yeah, that's where I've got to so far. It's kind of interesting.
£100k pounds, take $100 US dollars.
Thanks, Biff.
No, hang on a second.
Don't remind me of that.
November, mid-November. I'll swap it around, okay? Because that's when my money says Boris is coming back. I don't want Sunak. He's a bell end who pressed the money printer button. I don't want Boris Johnson because he's the bell end who told him to press the money printer button. And that's about as much politics as you
without
can
going into politics. If they're wise, they'll put Mordaunt in. If they're wise, they're not fucking wise. So you know what it's going to be. But yeah, you're right. Well, this is a good thing though. I get paid. One of my little side hustles is in fucking US dollars at the moment, and it's fucking lucrative. So you know,
the problem is at the moment I'm trying to find a fucking artist. I have to pay them in US dollars.
But the stupid thing, right, is back in the day, right? Back in the day when the US dollar was, you know, the US dollar was like 33 baht, right? So you got 33 baht to a US dollar, right? And you got like about 50 fucking baht to a pound. It is 38.5 bahts to the dollar at the moment. It is 40 fucking 2 to the pound. So I get paid in US dollars on this side hustle. When I send it over to Thailand, it's worth nearly as much as if I was getting paid in pounds. So you look at it, the pound and the dollar are near enough the same. It's so, you know, I'm getting paid what's not really that well paid a job in US dollars. But when I show that over here, it's worth quite a bit. So I got a new toy.
Just the thing I find distressing is right. Our leaders, we'll talk about that in a bit. Our leaders in our country are incompetent because they're incompetent. They're not incompetent because they're senile, which I always feel a bit bad for, because it's like, kind of, dude, tell him to fuck off and replace him quick. The man walked out of the White House with his trousers on back to front last week. Did you see that?
Yes. I got asked by one of my students this week what's going on, and I just started laughing. I went, I don't have words, especially English words, to teach you about this.
Okay, it's right. This is the right. Just we're going into the weeds for a moment, all right? So Liz Truss now holds a record. She is the shortest running PM of all time. The last was a guy from 1876, roughly. He did 140 days, and that's because he died. He would have been around longer if he hadn't have died. Okay?
You know, Liz Truss was she wiped 300 billion off the UK.
No, it was right. So do you know what it was? It's because she did that without telling the banks, and the banks didn't like it, and that's it. Can't do that. You can't make a financial decision without telling us, so we can hedge our bets and sort everything out for the future. But yeah, I would have what I would have done is I'd have turned around. I would have done the mini budget. I would have gone, right, fair enough. If you don't like it, tough shit. Yeah, that's what might have been my response was. Then all the Tories rebelling, I'd have turned around and go, there's the door, fuck off, bye, problem solved. I've still got a majority. There's loads of us here. So I've got a video. I want to see if I can play it. It's from German news.
The Germans.
Oh, I don't know if it'll work. Let's see if I can share this, because all right. It's sorry to go into politics. This is funny though. It's because of the English to German translation. Windows, WhatsApp. Oh, it won't play the sound. Shit.
Is it a WhatsApp video?
It's a WhatsApp video. It's not. I thought it was going to be a link to YouTube. Shame. Let's just see. I'll have a quick look for it, and then we'll go. But yeah, I'm still pissed off with Silent Hill for ruining a perfectly good presentation with bad robot.
Yeah. It doesn't even remotely surprise me that much, to be honest. But yeah, I check out the Peripheral. watch the first 2 episodes of that.
I've still got House of the Dragon. I watched Andor this week and caught up with Andor. Now I need to caught up.
I'll give you the peripheral because there's only 2 episodes of that at the moment. If you've still got your Prime thing, I do not. I might have to sign back up soon. There are a few things coming in the next few weeks, so we're getting Warrior Nun season 2, and actually the trailer to that looked quite good. And I kind of secretly quite enjoyed Warrior Nun. She is fit.
I just like watching the girl in it. She's very
she was fit,
easy on the eye.
Yeah, she was fit.
I'm being polite. I'm trying not to be...
I'm not being polite. She was hot. Season 2.
She was. Yeah.
Season
she made
2
that show.
Season 2 of the trailer looks quite good. I have to admit, so I'm looking forward to that. What was that? I saw something else that's coming. No, I can't remember. There is something else coming soon as well. And I think there is something coming on Prime. There's Jack Ryan season 3, but I might just download it just to.
There's Devil's Hour on Prime.
Further. What's the Devil's
Hour? Pete Capaldi. I'm traveling.
Oh, when does that come? When does that start?
Next weekend.
Oh shit!
I think it's next weekend.
I don't want to sign back up to Prime. I know. I just don't want to sign up to Prime. because I'm so pissed about Lord of the Rings.
The season's finished, so next time it happens, cancel it and then go back.
Those cunts sanctioned a fucking article that called us patently evil for not liking their fucking series. Fuck you, Amazon.
You know, my response to that is, I don't fucking care what you think. You're wrong.
Well, they are, but I don't need to support them. If you're going to call your customers evil, fuck it. I'll download it illegally. Fuck you. You don't get the viewing figures. I pay for streaming services and I watch it. But when you do something like that, the only reason I've still got Disney Plus, is partly because of Andor and partly because it costs me £10 a year. So I don't mind giving Disney a tenner a year.
Tenner a year? Okay, all right, let's see if this works. Hang on a second. All right.
It's the Germans.
It's the Germans. So,
woraufhin dann der stellvertretende Fraktionschef das Parlament mit den Worten verließ, I'm fucking furious and I don't fucking care anymore. Ich übersetze das jetzt mal nicht, aber das ist eine Partei, wo
That was on the news.
That was on the news.
Amazing.
And the worst thing is we all know that German speakers do understand quite a bit of English. They're quite good with their English language. Because I met quite a few Germans. The Berliner accent's the weirdest one because it is the camp SS officer.
Oh, yeah.
When you meet a Berliner and then you're like, oh, you're almost a stereotype. Because this is Florian.
Making your talk.
So, yes, we have ways to make you talk. Doesn't go on, say it, Florian. No, don't.
Can you just say, my little tank?
The Germans loved the hello because they felt that they were part of the joke. Because they felt that they were in on the joke.
Oh,
that was why they liked him.
That was why it was so well done. Hello was genius. And it's still one of my favorite comedy shows. It just was genius. Hello. Especially, I mean, even today we still fucking take the piss out there. Good morning. I was pissing by.
I love the fact that all they had to do was to make people speak in different accents. So speaking different languages was change the accent. They talked the French accent for French, German accent for German.
But it was
they did the same in Germany, apparently.
I loved it. It was always like, hello. And then when the British resistance talked to her, hello chaps, right, okay, when you go over the wall.
I haven't got a bloody clue what they're saying, the British airmen. And it's like kind of the French person talking nonsense. Something about his old wife, I think. That was hello! Good. So next week we've got loads to talk about.
Well, we're gonna have Doctor Who.
We'll have the death of Doctor Who.
We will.
Hopefully. And I don't mean in a good way.
We're going to have Doctor Who. I've kind of been watching this Jimmy Nesbitt Bloodlands thing, and that's been really fucking good. We got the final of that this week, and that's genuinely been good. It's very what's his face, Line of Duty guy. It is very him, but it's genuinely been quite good. Not that we've talked about that, but it's well worth the watch. What else have we got? We've got the House of Dragon at the weekend. Season final House of Dragon. We have got episode 8 of Andor, which I think is genuinely going to be quite good. And probably other stuff.
So you've got Black Adam. I'm planning on Black Adam next weekend. I was going to see it this weekend, but my friend is in bloody Wolverhampton, so I'll have to watch that. I've been told that it feels like a Marvel Phase 1 and it's a bit boring, but there's lots of explosions in it. I can live with lots of explosions. I can live with Marvel. It's like Venom, they described it as. I liked Venom. Venom was fun. It was a bit disposable, but it was fun. I enjoyed that. I want something that's not going to insult me. I want to put my money there. It seems the sensible thing to do. But
might have to have a date night then on Saturday, and go and see that next weekend then. Try and convince the missus.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds like a plan, Stan.
And on that note, I think we should say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.